Hello, Sheldon.
Hello, Sheldon.
$1 million for a single episode. That was the salary the stars of The Big Bang Theory reached when the show was at its peak. From the audience's couch, it looked like the cleanest Hollywood dream, millions of dollars, laughter, huge ratings, 12 seasons, 279 episodes, a modern American sitcom empire. But behind the canned laughter was a price the audience never saw. One decision by Jim Parsons was powerful enough to shut down that whole machine. Kaley almost lost a leg in a horseback riding accident, then went through divorce and depression. Melissa Rauch struggled with the pain of miscarriage. And a supporting character who once stood behind a comic book counter is now being handed the keys to the next chapter of the entire franchise. This is not just old photos and new photos, these are 10 faces from The Big Bang Theory, 19 years after Apartment 4A opened its door. Are you ready to discover the lives of the actors who had to keep laughing while making that classic show, #1 Jim Parsons as Sheldon Cooper? Jim Parsons was born in 1973. When The Big Bang Theory came out in 2007, he was 34 years old. He was not the kind of young face who had just stepped into Hollywood and blown up overnight. Parsons had gone through theater small roles auditions and a long enough waiting period to understand that the right role at the right time can change a person's whole life. Then Sheldon Cooper walked into that apartment, a physics genius with his own spot the roommate agreement, the penny knock, and the word bazinga, which even now the second you hear it again brings back a whole era of sitcoms from the late 2000s. After that, everything got bigger in that very Hollywood way from when network TV still ruled. 4 Emmy Awards, about $1 million per episode at the peak. A star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2015. From a stage actor in his 30s, Parsons became the name that drove America crazy. What is interesting is that the man who played Sheldon, a guy who almost had to relearn every step of intimacy, has had a very steady love story in real life. In 2012, the public learned that Parsons is gay. In 2017, he married Todd Spywak after many years together. No noise, no turning his private life into a performance. Just a man who knows who he is and knows who he wants to be beside. When the decision to leave the show started taking shape, Parsons was not just tired of a role. He was being crushed between the filming schedule, Broadway commercials, and one commitment after another. Then his 14-year-old dog got sick and died. After that, he fell after a performance and broke his foot. Parsons' father died at 52. His decision to leave the show brought The Big Bang Theory to its ending. CBS and Warner Brothers would not continue without Sheldon. Some of his castmates were shocked. Kaley Cuoco once said it felt like a heavy emotional blow. Johnny Galecki also felt the group should have had a deeper conversation because they had become a family. Some people may look at that and say without Jim there was no show. I think it is more accurate to say without Sheldon that room lost its center. CBS and Warner Brothers understood that, so instead of dragging out a familiar body with no life left in it, they let The Big Bang Theory end. Parsons did not quit acting. He continued as narrator and producer on Young Sheldon, then returned with Mayim Bialik in the 2024 finale. He went back to the Broadway stage, received his first Tony nomination for Mother Play in 2024, and in 2026 appeared in Titanic. This year, he is 53 years old. He is still grateful for Sheldon, but he is not very interested in a reboot. Number 2, Johnny Galecki as Leonard Hofstadter. Johnny Galecki did not just play the man who loved Penny.
Evidently.
In real life, he really
Significant
did love
improvement
Kaley
over the
Cuoco
old neighbor.
broke up with her and still had to make the audience believe Leonard and Penny belonged together. Galecki was born in 1975 in Brie, Belgium, into an American family. When The Big Bang Theory came out in 2007, he was 32 years old. Before Leonard, he already had a very solid sitcom background. American audiences knew him as David Healy on Roseanne and later The Connors. He had also appeared in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and Vanilla Sky. On the show, Leonard Hofstadter is an experimental physicist at Caltech. Sheldon's roommate, Howard and Raj's close friend, and the man who pursues Penny across many seasons. This role put Galecki among the highest-paid television actors in America. In 2018, Forbes ranked him second on the list of highest-paid male television actors with $25 million behind only Jim Parsons. He also received a Primetime Emmy nomination in 2011 and a Golden Globe nomination in 2012 for playing Leonard. What makes the Leonard and Penny story even harder to forget is that Johnny and Kaley really dated during the early seasons. When they broke up, the show was still running. That meant they still had to look at each other, flirt with each other, kiss each other, and many years later even act out a wedding scene together. Leonard and Penny got married in Season 9, had another ceremony in Season 10, while in real life, Johnny and Kaley had already moved past their real love story. In 2017, Galecki's vacation ranch in San Luis Obispo burned down in the Hill Fire, a fire that spread across about 1,500 acres and forced nearly 250 people to evacuate. In 2020, he split from Alana Meyer after they had their son Avery, and they continued to co-parent. Before that, during the Roseanne years, he had dated Sarah Gilbert and was remembered as someone who kept her private life private during the period when she was coming to understand herself more clearly. This year, Galecki is 51 years old. He is now married to Morgan. Galecki has a daughter named Una Evelena and lives in the Nashville area in a home of about 12,000 square feet on about 30 acres. In 2025, he reunited with Kaley Cuoco in a Royal Kingdom commercial. Just one scene of them sitting next to each other was enough to remind fans that Leonard and Penny are still one of the most remembered sitcom couples of that time. Number 3, Kaley Cuoco as Penny. And now, we come to Kaley Cuoco, the girl we could never forget. She was born in 1985 in Camarillo, California. When The Big Bang Theory came out, she was 22 years old, but she was not new. Before that, she already had 8 simple rules and charmed on her resume. On the show, Penny works at the Cheesecake Factory, dreams of becoming an actress, and lives across the hall from Leonard and Sheldon. At the peak, Kaley was paid about $1 million per episode along with the main cast. In 2018, Forbes reported that she earned $24.5 million, placing her second on the list of highest-paid television actresses. After Big Bang, Kaley could have done just fine playing versions of Penny again and again. Instead, she produced and starred in The Flight Attendant, playing an alcoholic, panicked woman tangled up in crime and mental collapse. That project brought her 3 Emmy nominations. She has also voiced Harley Quinn since 2019 and starred in Based on a True Story. In 2010, when the show was climbing very fast, Kaley nearly lost a leg in a horseback riding accident. She fell, the horse stepped on her left leg, and doctors once had to consider the possibility of amputation. In the end, the leg was saved, but she had to miss filming 2 episodes. If you watch that stretch carefully, you will notice Penny is often standing behind the bar to hide the fact that Kaley still could not move normally. Her marriages did not move in a straight line either. Her marriage to Ryan Sweeting began in 2013 and ended in divorce in 2016. 2 years later, she married Carl Cook. By 2021, they had separated, and in 2022, the divorce was finalized. The divorce from Carl happened right while Kaley was making Season 2 of The Flight Attendant. She said there were times when she lay on the floor crying, thinking she had ruined her life, unable to breathe, unable to get up. Strange to hear, right? Someone who once earned $1 million per episode to make America laugh still had moments lying on the floor not sure she could even get back up. Then she met Tom Pelphrey. Not the kind of fairy tale ending where a man walks in and fixes everything. Kaley had to get back up on her own first. But that relationship clearly opened a calmer, new chapter in her life. They went public in 2022, had their daughter Matilda in 2023, and got engaged in 2024. This year, Kaley is 41 years old. She is the mother of Matilda, a 3-year-old girl, and she is still acting, producing, and doing voice work. What is memorable is not only that she used to be Penny. What is memorable is that after the accident, 2 divorces, depression, and the shadow of a giant sitcom, she still made audiences call her by her real name instead of only by the role. Number 4, Simon Helberg as Howard Wolowitz. Simon Helberg was born in 1980 in Los Angeles. When The Big Bang Theory came out in 2007, he was 27 years old. Before Howard, he already had a pretty solid comedy background. Through Mad TV Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, Reno 911, Joey, and a few movies like Old School Good Night and Good Luck and Walk Hard. The funny thing is that Howard almost was not Simon Helberg. Kevin Sussman had originally been cast for the role. Simon only learned that many years later when he took part in interviews for the oral history book about the series. If another actor had played Howard, the character might have just been the shy guy at the comic book store. With Simon, Howard became the kind of man who was confident in all the wrong places, pitiful, and funny at the same time. He played Howard at a very fast rhythm, eyes constantly moving, voice rising and falling, body always looking like it was trying to impress somebody. The role brought Simon a Critics' Choice Television Award. In 2018, Forbes reported that he earned $23.5 million, tied for third among the highest-paid male television actors. He was also part of the main cast group that reduced their salaries from about $1 million to about $900,000 per episode to help Mayim Bialik and Melissa Rauch get raises. If you go looking for a major Simon Helberg scandal, there is almost nothing to dig up. The more worthwhile story is in his marriage and the way he chooses to live pretty privately. He married Jocelyn Town in 2007, the same year The Big Bang Theory came out. They have 2 children, Adeline and Wilder. But before they got married, their relationship almost fell apart. Simon broke up with Jocelyn, she went to France, then he regretted it and flew there to repair the relationship. Later, they turned that breakup and reunion story into the movie We'll Never Have Paris. After Big Bang, Simon did not run off looking for a second Howard. He returned to the things he truly had in his hands: comedy, music theater, and smaller movies. In Florence Foster Jenkins in 2016, he was not just standing next to Meryl Streep and Hugh Grant for decoration. He played Cosme McMoon, played the piano himself, and received a Golden Globe nomination for Best Supporting Actor in a Motion Picture. After that, he kept moving into stranger projects like Annette, where he even obtained French citizenship to take the role. In 2025, he reunited with Melissa Rauch in the Season 3 finale of Night Court, a small gift for anyone who once loved Howard and Bernadette. This year, Simon Helberg is 46 years old. He still lives pretty privately, is still married to Jocelyn, has 2 children, and chooses projects that are not too loud. Number 5, Kunal Nayyar as Rauch Koothrappali. Let's move to Kunal Nayyar, the man who played Rauch, a character who once could not talk to women without alcohol, but in real life married a former Miss India. Kunal Nayyar was born in 1981 in London and grew up in New Delhi, India. In 1999, he came to America to study business management, then shifted into acting and earned an MFA from Temple University. When The Big Bang Theory came out in 2007, he was 26 years old. This year, he is 45. Before Rauch, Kunal was not yet a familiar television face. For him, this was not just a good role. It changed his whole life. Before he got the role, Kunal had been an international student in America, doing different jobs to survive, from housekeeping to cleaning toilets. He once said he did not see those jobs as beneath him, because at the time, he needed to live and needed a chance. When he auditioned for The Big Bang Theory, he only had about 1 year left on his student visa. So Rauch did not just put Kunal on television. Rauch kept him in America with his American dream. The success became huge. In 2018, Forbes reported that Kunal earned $23.5 million, tied with Simon Helberg among the highest-paid male television actors. But after Big Bang, his challenge was not just finding new roles. The challenge was how to make audiences stop seeing him only as Rauch. He chose darker, heavier roles in Criminal UK Suspicion Sweetness in the Belly, The Storied Life of a Jay Fikri, and Christmas Karma. His role in Criminal UK also brought him a BAFTA Television Award nomination in 2021 for Supporting Actor. Kunal married Neha Kapoor, a former Miss India. They married in 2011 in a wedding that lasted 6 days and had about 1,000 guests. Surprising, right? Rauch on the show was awkward, lonely, and failed in love many times. Kunal in real life has a steady marriage with a woman who was once a beauty queen designer and fashion entrepreneur. This year, Kunal Nayyar is 45 years old. He is still married to Neha Kapoor, still acting, and still most remembered by audiences as Rauch. In 2025, he appeared on the official Big Bang Theory podcast, saying he often laughed during filming, especially when acting with Simon Helberg. He has also talked about the possibility of a reboot, but feels it may still be too early because the show only ended in 2019. Number 6, Mayim Bialik as Amy Farrah Fowler. You remember Amy Farrah Fowler, right? She was the character who walked into Sheldon's life like a female version of him, then stayed long enough to change Sheldon himself. Mayim Bialik was born in 1975 in San Diego, California. This year, she is 51 years old. Before The Big Bang Theory, she had already been famous from Blossom in the 1990s. Then, instead of clinging to Hollywood at any cost, she stepped away from the rhythm of television to really study. Mayim earned a PhD in neuroscience from UCLA in 2007. Mayim appeared in 203 episodes of The Big Bang Theory. She received 4 Emmy nominations for playing Amy, won 2 Critics' Choice Awards, and became one of the late-arriving but most important characters in the whole series. Near the end, Mayim and Melissa Rauch were raised to more than $425,000 per episode after the original main cast agreed to take pay cuts to support them. Mayim does not have the kind of dirty scandal tabloids love chewing on over and over. Her story is more complicated than that. She married Michael Stone, had 2 sons, Miles and Frederick, then divorced after nearly 10 years. She has talked a lot about co-parenting, about how a marriage ending does not mean a family has to completely fall apart. But Mayim is also someone who often gets pulled into public debates. Some of her old comments about vaccines drew a lot of reaction. Later, factcheck.org confirmed that claims saying she refused vaccines in the COVID-19 context were misleading because she and her 2 sons had received COVID-19 vaccines. In 2017, her article about Harvey Weinstein was criticized because many people felt it could be read as putting responsibility on victims. Mayim later apologized, making it clear that a woman's clothing or behavior is never a reason for her to be assaulted. After Big Bang, she continued with Call Me Kat, then stepped into one of the hardest jobs on American television, hosting Jeopardy after the Alex Trebek era. She once shared that role with Ken Jennings. By 2023, she left the syndicated host position when Sony chose Ken Jennings as the sole host to keep things consistent for viewers. Before that, she also did not appear during a period of filming in support of the Hollywood writers' strike. Mayim did not disappear after those controversies. She continued with the podcast Mayim Bialik's Breakdown, where she talks about mental health, science, faith, and difficult conversations. In 2024, she returned as Amy with Jim Parsons in the finale of Young Sheldon. This year, Mayim Bialik is 51 years old. She is an actress, author, neuroscientist, podcaster, mother of 2 sons, and still a very special face in the Big Bang universe. Number 7. Melissa Rauch as Bernadette Rostenkowski-Wolowitz. Do not let Bernadette's tiny voice fool you. Melissa Rauch is one of the people who came into the Big Bang Theory late, but left with a very solid place. Melissa Rauch was born in 1980 in Marlborough Township, New Jersey. This year, she is 46 years old. Before coming to the Big Bang Theory, she studied acting at Marymount Manhattan College, did comedy, and appeared in Best Week Ever, Kath and Kim True Blood, The Office, and the movie I Love You Man. She did not walk into the show as a big star. She walked in as a supporting role. Bernadette appeared starting in Season 3 in 2009, originally as Penny's coworker at the Cheesecake Factory and as Howard's date. But the character quickly grew beyond that original function. Bernadette became Howard's wife, the mother of his children, and an important part of the group. Her high voice is not Melissa's real voice either. She once said it was partly inspired by her mother, and when Bernadette yells, viewers can hear a little shadow of Mrs. Wolowitz in there. Melissa's private life has no major legal scandal. She married Winston Rauch in 2007. The 2 of them are husband and wife, and also creative partners, having worked together on The Bronze. But her heaviest personal event was a miscarriage. In 2017, when announcing her pregnancy, Melissa wrote directly about her previous loss, the guilt-depression hormone, chaos fear, during a new pregnancy and loneliness of having to watch other people get happy news while she was in pain. After that, she gave birth to her daughter Sadie in 2017. In 2020, she gave birth to her son Brooks during COVID, and Winston had to be there through FaceTime. No glamour, no red carpet, just a mother giving birth at a time when the whole world was in chaos. After Big Bang, Melissa continued with Night Court, playing Judge Abby Stone and serving as executive producer. The series ran from 2023 to 2025, then NBC canceled it before Season 4. Melissa Rauch is not the loudest person in the cast, but she went from a supporting role through Private Loss into motherhood, produced a new sitcom, and still held on to her place. After Bernadette, let's move to the man who used to be just the sad comic book store owner, but now may be the future of the whole Big Bang universe, Kevin Sussman, as Stuart Bloom. Number 8, Kevin Sussman as Stuart Bloom. Kevin Sussman was born in 1970 in Staten Island, New York. This year he is 56 years old. Before audiences remembered him as Stuart Bloom, Kevin was already the kind of supporting actor whose face felt very familiar in Hollywood. He studied at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, then appeared in Almost Famous AI Artificial Intelligence, Sweet Home Alabama Hitchburn, after reading Taking Woodstock and especially as Walter in Ugly Betty. He was not someone who rose through one glamorous role. He took the long road bit by bit through small parts. Stuart Bloom appeared in The Big Bang Theory starting in Season 2 in 2009. He is the owner of the comic book store where Sheldon, Leonard, Howard, and Rauch often hang out. At first, Stuart was only a supporting character, the lonely comic book seller who lacked money, lacked confidence, and was often pushed to the edge of life. But Kevin made Stuart funny enough and pitiful enough for audiences to remember. Starting in Season 6, he was promoted to series regular. What is interesting is that Kevin almost played Howard Wolowitz. His schedule with Ugly Betty kept him from taking that role, and Simon Helberg eventually became Howard. Later, Chuck Lorre called Kevin back for Stuart. It is strange when you think about it. He had been very close to the core male group from the beginning, then became the person standing outside the group. But that outsider is now the one being brought to the front. Kevin's private life has no major scandal. He married Alessandra Young in 2006. They separated in late 2012, legally separated in 2014, and finalized their divorce in 2017. The divorce was covered by the press in 2018. After that, Kevin moved into a new chapter when he married Addie Hall in 2023. After The Big Bang Theory, Kevin kept working in projects like Better Call Saul, The Dropout, and Lessons in Chemistry. He was not loud, and he did not try to turn himself into a red carpet star. But in 2026, the story changes direction. Kevin returns as Stuart in Stuart Fails to Save the Universe, the new spin-off from the Big Bang universe on HBO Max. The series features Lauren Lapkus, Brian Posehn, and John Ross Bowie, with a story about Stuart accidentally causing a multiverse crisis after damaging a device created by Sheldon and Leonard. This year, Kevin is 56 years old, remarried, and preparing for his biggest opportunity since Big Bang. Stuart used to be the character audiences felt sorry for because he always came up short. Kevin Sussman is different. He stayed long enough for a supporting role to finally have its day and be called by name. Number 9, Sarah Gilbert as Leslie Winkle. Sarah Gilbert did not stay on The Big Bang Theory as long as many others, but her television career is longer than almost all of Apartment 4A put together. Sarah Gilbert was born in 1975 in Santa Monica, California. When The Big Bang Theory came out in 2007, she was 32 years old. This year, she is 51. Before appearing as Leslie Winkle, Sarah was already a very familiar sitcom face to American audiences because of her role as Darlene Connor on Roseanne. That role brought her an Emmy nomination when she was still very young and also tied her to one of the most famous television families in America. She also studied at Yale University, majoring in art with a focus on photography. Outside, Big Bang Sarah has had a much bigger career. She created and co-hosted The Talk, then left the show in 2019 to focus on acting, producing, and family. She returned as Darlene in the Roseanne revival, then continued with The Connors. The series ended in 2025, closing a journey that stretched from Roseanne in 1988 all the way into the modern television generation. Sarah's private life also has many layers. She once dated Johnny Galecki during the Roseanne years. Later, she said that period helped her realize she was gay, and Johnny kept her private life private when she was not ready to come out publicly. Sarah has 2 children with Ali Adler. In 2014, she married Linda Perry, and they had a son, Rhodes Emilio. The two separated in 2019, then finalized their divorce on December 19, 2024. They share custody and waived financial support from each other. Another major shock came from her career. In 2018, the Roseanne revival was doing well when ABC canceled it after Roseanne Barr's racist tweet about Valerie Jarrett. Sarah, who was both an actress and an executive producer at the time, publicly called the comment disgusting. After that, The Connors was born without Roseanne Barr, and Sarah helped keep that story alive for 7 more seasons. And to close out the list, we return to a character who was not at the center of the show, but was still one of Raj's most memorable love interests, Laura Spencer as Emily Sweeney. Number 10, Laura Spencer as Emily Sweeney. Laura Spencer was born in 1986 in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. This year, she is 40 years old. She grew up in Edmond, studied at the University of Oklahoma, and earned a BFA in 2008. Before appearing in The Big Bang Theory, Laura had a small but notable place in web series through her role as Jane Bennett in the Lizzie Bennett Diaries. Television audiences also knew her as Jessica Warren on Bones. In 2015, Laura was promoted to recurring series regular in Season 9. This was a sign that the show once intended to keep Emily around longer, but in the end, the character did not go as far as Amy or Bernadette. Rauch's romantic storyline shifted direction, and Emily was slowly pushed out. For supporting actors, that is a very familiar reality. You can be given an open door brought into the credits and remembered by fans, but the story does not always choose you to go all the way to the end. Outside The Big Bang Theory, Laura kept working steadily rather than loudly. She had the Lizzie Bennett Diaries Bones, then appeared in Reservation Dogs, Grey's Anatomy Season 21, and The New Night Court. She did not become an A-list star after playing Emily, but she has kept her career going through small, clean, steady roles. Laura's private life is pretty quiet. In reliable public sources, there is no major legal trouble or standout personal scandal around her. She married Michael Jack Greenwald on January 5, 2019. And maybe that is also why she is a good name to close this list. Not everyone in the cast has 4 Emmys, million-dollar contracts, a noisy divorce, or a spin-off of their own. Some people only need a few seasons, a character different enough to stand out, and a small place in fans' memories. This year, Laura Spencer is 40 years old. She is still acting, still living pretty privately, and still best remembered as Emily, the woman who once made a lot of people think Rauch might finally have something stable in love. When The Big Bang Theory appeared in 2007, it did not feel like the usual kind of sitcom we had already watched dozens of times before. It was not a group of cool people sitting around drinking coffee, not a bunch of handsome guys walking into a bar and instantly having the perfect line. Here we had awkward men who loved comic books, physics games, science fiction, and often messed everything up simply because they did not know how to talk to the outside world. And that is exactly what made it memorable. 19 years have passed. Jim Parsons left Sheldon to find his own life again. Johnny Galecki chose to live more privately. Kaley Cuoco went through divorce depression and rebuilt her career herself. Kunal Nayyar, Simon Helberg, Mayim Bialik, Melissa Rauch, and the supporting faces also found their own turns. They got older, and so did we, but the laughter from Apartment 4A is still there. I want to know, out of this cast, which story surprised you the most? And do you still remember when you first watched The Big Bang Theory? Leave a comment. And do not forget to subscribe to Weird Movie Secrets so we can keep digging up the strangest secrets behind classic movies and series.